every Chinese people, I think we all need a reflection. How many of us truly believed in and keenly supported zero COVID? If we once appreciated the effectiveness of this policy and the efficiency of centralized management, then don't we deserve a side effect pain as well? Hi everyone, this is Cassandra Watch in Shanghai. For the recent protests against the COVID policy and the following hard landing open up in China, I feel both sad and happy, both worried and proud. 3 weeks ago, we were still under the most strict zero COVID policy while the rest of the world already moved on. To Chinese people, we have been screwed up for 3 years and now the virus game just started, as if the past 3 years of insisting is just a joke. One of China's official media, People's Daily, once claimed that the residual damage of COVID will be the biggest public health crisis in US. And now the same People's Daily said that there is no clear proof of COVID sequelae. And ultimately, 80% of people will have COVID. On November the 27th, the long-piled anger and discontent against zero COVID cannot be held anymore. Protests erupted in Shanghai, Beijing, and some other major Chinese cities. My first reaction was that, wow, some of my fellow Chinese do have guts. And then a second thought was, goodness, what's the next? A reasonable speculation is that the government is going to put much more severe control of both pandemic and protests. With the same concern, Chinese equity markets opened sharply down first thing next morning. Interestingly, the storyline changed overnight. On November the 28th, Zhejiang provincial government announced a new slogan, quote, "People is priority first, not the anti-pandemic." Immediately after that, a couple of major Chinese cities quickly followed. And then suddenly, zero COVID banner disappeared. Health code checking stopped. PCR tests not required. And Big White lost their jobs. Social medias are filled with content to justify open up and to educate people about COVID self-treatment. Ironically, these were all censored only 3 weeks ago. There was even a business trip group to Europe led by Zhejiang provincial government with 10,000 company owners who vowed to take back every business deals they have lost in the past 3 years. A small company owner even joked, "Why didn't we use Western vaccine earlier, just with the label of made in China? Majority Chinese wouldn't even know, and who cares?" How smart and pragmatic. I think China's market would never be hopeless with such entrepreneurs. So the big question is why? Why now? Why so fast? Why took so long? I think the number one reason is that local government are running out of money, not even capable of supporting PCR tests and the payment to contractors. A municipal government of Shandong province even launched a COVID quarantine hospital debt. Yes, they publicly raised a debt to construct that cube. Then the protests. Still, I don't think it's the decisive reason, but definitely a big facilitator. From the surprisingly high speed of open up, I can speculate a little bit that the top leader had very little idea of how miserable ordinary people's life is. It's a very classic information filtering problem in a power centralized system. Just because of the extreme power, people around the top leader dare not say any truth that may upset him. However, protest is a too direct and strong message to be hidden. The third support is the completion of 20th National Congress. CPC top leader positions were confirmed, and provincial level leaders will be trusted buddies of the core person. No substantial threat would emerge even if top leader makes mistakes. This gives local governments much more flexibility to execute. Now let's dial the clock back to 3 years ago. The original intention of zero COVID was to save people's lives. However, China has weaponized the success of first stage antivirus as a political achievement of single one person. That made policy change later on extremely hard when the virus evolved. Also, the recognition of the virus takes time, even to the top leader. The key person is not biological or medical expert. Before he himself truly understands COVID, we have to admit the safest approach is to strictly control. In the meantime, dynamic zero policy could be a very useful tool to check local government's loyalty. Failure of controlling COVID could be a perfect reason to remove some provincial head. As a natural consequence, I think local authorities were truly and significantly wronged during COVID. It's such an ancient trick to blame local authorities for everything, while keeping the perfect and saint image of central government. How can it win the battle against the virus, in the meantime boost the economic growth? If I were a mayor myself, I would also choose to execute the zero COVID policy as strict as possible, because it's much easier to prove that I have done a good job by just locking down everyone than to prove that I can truly make a difference in terms of economic development. However, opening up itself cannot resolve concrete problems. It's only a start to recover. The protests 3 weeks ago is not a replica of 1989. No matter what political slogan they claimed, the requirement was very simple. Let me out. Let me go to work. You'll see, people's mind will be all about resuming business as long as the open up keeps going. Chinese people are so well behaved and so keen for material wealth. This is Cassandra Watch. See you next time.